Perfect. All right, let's get started. Well, Yusuke Kaga, thank you so much for joining me today. Excited to have you and looking forward to this one. Please, I'll pass the mic off to you. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about where you're from, where you went to college, and kind of your career summary up till this point.
All right, so thank you very much to invite me your YouTube channel maybe, or like the social media channel. Yeah.
Yep.
So my name is Yusuke. I'm from Japan, but actually I went to French engineering school after I graduated from the Japanese, one of a bachelor student in the biomedical sciences. And I started my career back to France as one of the AI backbone startups to integrate the multiple biomedical diagnosis tools to integrate, every single, the modalities indeed by leveraging the AI right now. And afterwards, because of the COVID, I couldn't continue working over there. So, my startup journey kind of, a little bit, stressful. Afterwards, I went to Singapore and I worked as a marketing researcher of the UK Economist Journal of the Economist as a market researcher in the APAC areas. And over there, I sometimes summarize the open innovations activities with the multiple biomedical corporate or the pharmaceutical companies all over the world. And afterwards, I returned back to Japan and I joined one of the Japanese startup to support the inbound things from the foreign entrepreneurs, from foreign tourists to come to Japan, and we actually did support a lot. So, I have two experience of the startup working experience outside in Japan and in Japan as well. And I found a huge discrepancies between the Japan and outside in Japan in terms of the entrepreneurships. So that's why, I decided to join JETRO. It's one of the governmental agencies in order to support the Japanese startup to go abroad. And vice versa. I mean, the foreign entrepreneur come to Japan and to establish and to incorporate some of the offices in Japan and to collaborate with the multiple Japanese corporate stakeholder or something like that.
I want to come back to that point later about your experiences inside and outside of Japan and what you view as the differences. Because it's interesting hearing all these founders who have worked in both inside their home country and outside. And the cultural differences, the work differences, everything. I'd like to hear that. But first, I want to hear more about JETRO. It's JETRO. I'll put it out here and put a link on the video later. But it's a government organization. Tell me specifically what it does. Is it an accelerator? Does it invest? Does it just communicate? What does it do?
So, the JETRO is a more general governmental agency to support general trading activities. So we have more than 75 offshore offices outside in Japan and inside of Japan as well. We have more than 50 domestic offices. And some departments support the Japanese SME to facilitate the trading activities with the overseas countries and corporate. But since 2017 or 18, actually, last decades, we started supporting the startups or entrepreneur journeys from all over the world, from Japan as well, to scale up, the multiple markets. The reason behind that is actually aligned with Japanese governmental strategies to increase more unicorn, decacorn, and the number of the Japanese startups. The reason behind that, why the Japanese government set this kind of goal, is the Japanese economy is not so much good compared to the US or China or the other developing country and developed country as well. The reason behind that, for example, the number of the unicorn here in Japan is just 7 or 8. Compared to the US, now as of 2025, maybe more than 700 or 800 startups becomes the unicorns, right? In terms of the valuations. However, in Japan, we don't have a lot. So that's why the current existing company is really the old-fashioned one or the legacies. We don't have a lot of the new companies. but the new companies create the new economy and new valuations, new social values, and the money, and GDP increase.
Yep.
However, Japan is not like that. So that's why, in order to achieve the government goal or like a Japan goal, we started supporting like the startup to go global by mentoring support or like the acceleration program, collaborating with the top tier accelerator like the Texas, Alchemist, or like Berkeley Skydeck, or StartX. For example, like it's one of like the Stanford University-based accelerators, and we approach like the peer VC. Maybe I'm not pretty sure we can do it. We currently have more than 50 or 60 accelerator partners all over the world, collaborating with offshore offices inside of JETRO. And we also have more than 500 and 600 mentor pro across all over the world. So by this kind of the asset, we keep supporting like the Japanese startup to go global. And we also have inbound support individuals.
Thinking about the inbound support, I wanted to touch on one point. I saw somebody else in JETRO recently posted that Japan just changed their 1-year startup visa to now it's 2 years, correct?
Yes, correct. So this is like the new initiative of the Japanese government, try to get more attracted from the overseas potential entrepreneur to establish a company in Japan. For example, like the Sakana AI, it's one of like the Japanese recent unicorn, which leverages like the new AI algorithm in order to decrease the usage of like of the electricity from the data centers. So like the Sakana AI became the unicorn, but like the founders are actually foreigners, like the ex-Google engineers indeed.
What was that called? Asakana?
Sakana. S-A. Yeah, sakana. Sakana means a fish in Japanese.
Yeah.
I
thought it sounded like fish, and I thought fish AI. But
yeah, fish AI. It is. Yeah.
All right.
So like they got fundraised from the Costa venture capital or like such kind of like a top tier venture capital in the Bay Area, but the founder are also foreigners, indeed. So
when you had the 1-year program, did you see a lot of startups start coming over like Sakana?
Yes. Actually, like from my connections as well in Tokyo, I see a lot of like foreign entrepreneurs now. However, indeed, like we have a pro and cons behind the startup visa things. Like that, from 1 year to 2 years, it's a really great improvement because like the administrations to apply and to update the startup visa status takes a lot of the time for foreigners. And for example, like the administrative. So, for example, like the bank or like the governmental sector people sometimes are not so much good at English, So that's why, like the document writing should be in Japanese. So there are a lot of like the cons as well. However,
is the application something that JETRO kind of helps startup founders with?
JETRO also supports somewhat. And, in Tokyo, we have a lot of like the supporting scheme for foreign entrepreneurs to apply for startup visa things. For example, like the Shibuya district also has their own supporting equities, which is called like a Shibuya startup support. And they also they support like the foreign entrepreneur to apply and to prepare for the necessity document in order to apply for the startup visa. And also they also offer like the co-working space. So from beginning, they do a lot of the support. Not only Shibuya district, but also like the other local government also has their own supporting schemes. So such as like the Fukuoka or like it's a Kyushu area. It's in the southern area of the Japan, and up to Hokkaido, it's a northern area of the Japan. There has a local government, and local government offer like some of like the foreign entrepreneur support services. Yeah.
I'll put a map on the side of the video so people can see what areas you're talking about of Japan.
Yeah.
I heard Hokkaido just broke their record for most snowfall like in the world. I think it was like 1.6 meters, which I'm good.
It's gigantic, And now a lot of like the foreign travelers really like.
Yeah, they love going and seeing that.
Like,
I'm good. I want to stay in the south. I want to stay closer to Okinawa. I like the beaches better. But let me just one last question on that visa part. What are some of the requirements for that? Is it? I know a lot of the visas for Japan require a college degree. Is it college degree? Is it LLC? What are some of the requirements?
So depending on like what kind of like the entities you guys would like to create, like the LLC or like there are another entities, like depending on the what you guys would like to do it, I guess, like the necessity requirement could be differentiated. I will give you some of like the useful links, and like one of like my foreign entrepreneurs write it down like some of the personal blog in English, and how to like prepare for the of the steps.
Perfect. That'll help. I'll put those links in the description. Yes. People can find.
Yes. It could be useful, I think. Yeah.
What sort of startups are you seeing like developing in Tokyo right now? Is there a specific trend? Is it mainly fintech? Is it like construction, ag tech? What are you seeing really popping up in Tokyo right now?
So like first of all, like the AI, So I'm currently managing like the AI salon. It's like international AI entrepreneur communities across the over 30 countries. And like since last April, I just brought back this, like the AI salon communities in Tokyo, and we launched like the AI salon Tokyo things activities every month. So if you guys also like sometimes come to Japan and Tokyo as a tourist, you guys can come by our AI salon Tokyo to do the pitch or like to communicate with our AI entrepreneur network as well. So a lot of like the AI startup pop up in Tokyo as well. Yeah, not only in Japan but also like the Bay Area as well, like the Europe as well. Now AI is a really trend word. Yeah. But like on the other hand, like the Japanese strength is a deep tech. We have a lot of like a sweeping IP, a lot of like the seed research things, For example, like the, like the CRISPR-Cas9, it's one of like gene editing tools in the biomedical sciences, They become like they got awarded of like a lot of the award of the science indeed, and right now a lot of like researchers use gene editing tools in the fundamental research and like the applied research as well a lot, But like initially the idea or like the fundamental things start from like one of like the research in the Japanese universities. Hydrogens, usage of the hydrogens or like the robotics or like a lot of the things we have a lot. But like we have a lot of the potential in the deep tech things.
It just hasn't been turned into a startup yet.
Yes, this is the issues. Sorry. Yeah. So we have a lot of like the like potential seed of the research things, but like the tech transfers sometimes doesn't work. I mean, like the researchers just focus on the research things in Japan. So that's why like if we maybe like to change some of like the scheme for fundamental researchers in Japan to flourish like the entrepreneur journeys by like for example like the startup studio things or like the like the some other like the support things, maybe we can make the more decagon things, So Perfect. This is the strength in Japan. Yeah,
I like it. All right, we'll just finish up on a more fun, interesting question on. I start my program with my students very soon. So if you had to give one piece of advice to, my college age entrepreneurs or first time founders, what's one piece of advice you would give?
Oh, okay. So like this is all applicable for all entrepreneurs. Start to with gigantic ambitions to approach to the global market, not in the domestic market. This one I always tell to my client of the student entrepreneur in Japan. Japan also has a lot of like the challenging part inside of Japan. A lot of like the digital transformation doesn't happen in the multiple corporate. So that's why like first of all, student try to solve like the Japan domesticated issues. But like the Japan population is decreasing, and like now like the everything really rapidly change, quickly change. So that's why like if some of like the status situations, like the change inside Japan, their business model doesn't work. But like if we just target global market from day one, maybe like we can just change the target countries. If that Japan doesn't work, okay, so go to the US, go to like the maybe Europe. Now like the geography many times change.
Yeah.
And so that's why start
by thinking globally.
Yes.
Perfect. I like you, man. Well, thank you so much, man. Yusuke, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Really appreciate it, and thank you for your time.
Good.